This is my Task 3 project. It's a presentation on teacher-made tests, and my name is Misty Everett. What are teacher-made tests? Teacher-made tests are written or oral assessments that are not commercially produced or standardized. Otherwise, they are personally made by the teacher specifically for his or her own students. Why do we need teacher-made tests? Standardized tests occur infrequently and usually at the end of the year. Teacher-made tests are helpful in determining future instructional goals because they are made and given throughout the year. Teachers can make changes immediately to meet the students' needs versus waiting to try to figure out what went wrong when using standardized tests only as assessments in the classroom. There are some important keys when using teacher-made tests. You need to make them a part of assessment, not separate from it. Tests should be instructional and always ongoing. Tests should measure what a student did learn, not what they did not learn. Assessment should be made before instruction as a path guiding for instruction. And adjustments should be made for various learning styles, multiple intelligence, and learning problems of diverse students. Some guidelines for constructing teacher-made tests, and this is just only part of the guidelines. You should create the test before starting the unit. That way you know what the students are going to be tested on and what you are going to teach the students in that unit. You need to incorporate vocabulary and Common Core standards into test questions. Clear directions should be given and group question types together. That means put all the true and false together, all the multiple choice together, instead of mixing them all up through the assessment. Arrange questions from simple to complex. Give point values for each section. For example, 1 point for each vocabulary term, maybe 2 points for each true and false. This is something that you can determine on your own. Type or print clearly with enough space for answering. Give the students a grading scale and always give sufficient time for all of your students to finish. These are some examples of some study guides that I use in my 4th grade science class. This was a study guide that I made up so that they would know what kind of questions to expect on the test. I have the vocabulary definitions listed first with directions. Then I have some fill in the blank, and I actually didn't follow the guidelines here on my study guide. I mixed my true and false and my fill in the blank together, and I should have had those grouped separately. I have some listing, and I have some open response questions and some multiple choice. And I have another open response. So on my study guide, I did not follow guidelines, and I should have grouped my question types together a lot better. And this is an example of the test that I made that followed the study guide. Here is the vocabulary. Here are my directions for this section, my vocabulary words. Then I have true and false, and I do have those grouped together. More true and false, fill in the blank, listing, and then my questions, and I made sure to start out easy, my easier questions first, my more complex question last, and I gave my students plenty of space here on all these things for writing their answers, and my assessment is typed up so that it can be read clearly by the students. I like using teacher-made tests best in my classroom. Now, I do often mix in some of the standardized or the tests that come, the assessments that come with the books that we use, but mostly I like to use teacher-made tests. That way I have a guide when I'm teaching the unit or the chapter. I know what my students need to know for the test at the end, and that way when they take the assessment or the test, I know if they got it or not, and if they didn't, I need to go back and look at the way that I was instructing, and I need to change some things. Maybe I need to incorporate different ways of presenting the material, like visually, hands-on, more reading, more group work, more activities, etc. So this concludes my Teacher Made Test Task 3 presentation. Thank you.